What's up, man?
Hey, how you doing? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you great. Does mine sound okay? It's got to be coming through my mic, I'm assuming here.
Perfect. Yep.
Okay.
You cool? Are you cool with recording video?
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
Nice.
for sure.
Blasey told me that I had to ask.
Oh, no, I don't. No, I've assumed. I just assumed it, but
He didn't say you specifically, just when I recorded when he's like, "Oh, you're not gonna fucking ask me. You're not gonna get my
uh,
consent to record."
yeah,
Sorry, man.
well, nah, I operate without consent.
Same.
Let me. Is it dark on my end? I can turn one of my lights
No,
on.
it looks great.
Okay,
Yeah, it
cool,
looks great.
cool.
Forgive me, I got to take my glasses off because of the
Yeah,
fucking glare.
no problem.
But then I can't read because I've been wearing them all day. Is there anything you don't want to talk about?
Yeah, I'm easy, dude.
Yeah, but like, are you bored with anything?
I'm less bored when I'm guesting because I never get interviewed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Interviewed. Um, no, I don't really have anything that's like, yeah, I'm tired. I mean, I'm tired of a lot, but it's different when I'm being asked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, no, I'm fair game, dude. Whatever you want to talk about.
Okay. I was a little nervous because you said you got a hard out at 3. I
Yeah,
was like, man, we're not going to have a chance to look at all my OnlyFans videos and figure out what's going on with them.
to critique them, break them all down.
Yeah, I'll figure out where I'm missing the mark.
Yeah, yeah, I'm missing the mark too. I couldn't give you any advice.
Damn
I
it.
bet, but yeah,
Nobody's got a hot take for me.
I could probably find one. Um, yeah, anything's cool, dude. But yeah, I'm glad we moved it up because, yeah, we want to be like hard pressed to get out in an hour flat if we need to or don't
Yeah.
need to.
No,
So
and whatever you got to do, man. If you got to bail, you just give me a heads up, man. We'll bail. It'll be
yeah,
fine.
we're good now. We're good now.
Cool.
I
And I
just,
saw that you had just recorded with somebody else, Redbeard, maybe.
yeah, that was like 3 weeks ago.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
so I think it launches tomorrow.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, he's out in I think he's in Utah. So yeah, a little Western. There was a lot of that Western stuff and whatever, but it was cool. It was
Yeah.
fun.
Okay.
Seems like a great guy. So
I mean, I have some things written down, but it's going to be just loosey goosey. So,
I'll follow your lead, dude. Wherever you want to take it, I'll go there.
first of all, I appreciate you doing this, man.
Of course, yeah. Thanks for having me on and doing it. When I can do it, because now with the kid, it's just hard for me to do anything extra besides our own show. So, um, yeah, tell me
I
about if we can do it in work hours, it's better for me now.
Well,
So,
this is your work, right?
hmm
I
yep,
love it. Well, dude, when it's 9 o'clock and I got to walk from my house out to the barn and flip all the lights off or on, and it's pitch black, dude, I'm ready for bed at 9 o'clock.
yeah,
I'm an
yeah.
old man now, so fuck it.
I operate different. I would rather record late, and I like if I didn't have kids and have like a functioning like thing to operate, like I would probably come in here at 9 and work all night and sleep all day.
You're a night owl.
I think my brain just prefers that. And I've worked blue collar jobs where I got to get up at 3 in the morning. I'm like, I'll get used to it. I just never ever did, and I'm more motivated at night.
How old are you? Do
34.
you think that has anything to do with it? Like, do you
No,
think there'll come a day when you just are like slowed down at night, or you think that you've always been that way?
I've always been that way.
Yeah.
Always. My one of my best friends that way too. He if someone's like, "Hey, you can work first or third shift," he's like, "Third." I'll work third shift.
No shit.
I think I'm that way. Even though I've never worked third shift, I just always thought I think I'd prefer it.
Huh.
Just more productive.
That's good, man. It's good that you at least are able to look internally and be like, this is me. I'm not gonna fucking fight it. I'm gonna roll with it, and this is who I'm gonna be, and I'm gonna thrive by just encouraging this.
Yeah, but I can't do it because it's unfair to my kids to be like, you know what I mean? So it's
Yeah,
just maybe when they're older, then they kind of get it a little bit more, and that's probably how I'll work. Is
they're
I'm
pretty
still,
they're pretty little, huh?
yeah, 6 and 3. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I gotta. There's days I could do it,
Yeah.
whatever, but I don't know. We'll
Let me
see.
let me turn my heater off real quick. I just roasted myself in here.
Okay.
Oh, sorry about that.
Nope, no problem. Your background looks great.
Oh, thank you. It's fake. I mean, it's real. It's if I were to turn the camera around, it's a shit show in here. But thank
Dude,
you.
I think you'd be surprised at how many podcast studios
Yeah.
are that way. Most of them are. Like it looks good in the corner it needs to look good in, and everything else is just a shit show. That's
Yeah.
normal. That's every studio, you know.
I'm in so the house that we live in has a are you cool with all this being in? Like just leaving it in? I'll just cut that brick where I walked away. Okay.
I don't care at all.
Okay.
You can use
So
it.
this house has a one I'm in a 150-year-old like actual barn.
Mhm.
And it is the family that this road is named after lived on this property 150 years ago. It was a 200-acre like potato farm.
Yeah.
And so the barn came with the house and it needed a lot of repair. It needed a new roof, it needed to be cleaned out. Dude, this barn itself adds more value to my house than anything else in this. Maybe the pool, like the pool that I had to fix in this fucking barn, in my opinion, is dollar amount worth more than my whole entire house put together.
Really?
Like it's so nice to have animals. Like we have chickens and we have a pig and we have sheep and we have ducks and the kids can do chores and
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
main floor is a full. I have a full gym in here. Like
Yeah.
my,
That's
my
sweet.
office. Like the kids can hang out upstairs and play pool and air hockey.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
incredible.
That's. I wish I had like something like that I could have redone and made like an area. That's what our buddy Ross did. That's on the show sometimes. He's
Yeah.
the club we call it Club 200. It was just an old barn that was shitty. And he's like, oh, I got this master plan. And now I think they spend more time and it's nicer than my house, but they spend more time in the man cave Club 200 than they do the house. But he bought this property that had all these old buildings that all had potential with them. And I'm like, man, it'd be nice to just have the bones of something to go in and like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? We're lucky we have our studio,
Right.
but before that, I was gonna like put up a building and have the studio built in the building and all that. And now my man cave is here in a little downtown, which is kind of weird but cool.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's amazing. The fact that you're able to take something like what you guys do today, so incredibly amazing, so incredible and successful, and then to have your own storefront where you can do that kind of stuff in is it's
yeah.
almost unheard of.
Well, we're not technically a storefront because we're not open to the public, but we
I know.
could be.
Yeah.
We could set up to do it. We might do it like for a week a year. New Windsor's the town we're in. It blows up every like the last weekend of August for the rodeo, and so
Okay.
we thought about opening it up during rodeo week because there's so many people in town, and
Mm-hmm.
it might just bring in a what's that? Let's go check that out, where we could just have people come in and shop for a week. But we're thinking about that still. I don't know if we're gonna do it yet, but
It's pretty sweet. I suppose I did think that you could walk in and buy some merch from you guys there.
no, we should. I don't know how much. I mean, it's not like we're gonna have in this little. It's a town of 600 people. You know, it's not like we're
Yeah.
gonna have customers come in and out all day. But I'm sure if I think doing the week, hey, we're open during rodeo week, or we'll open, this many weeks in the spring or fall might be good. But we gotta. I don't know. I don't know really like people in here
Oh,
unannounced if I can't help it. But
makes total sense. Makes
well,
total.
yeah. But otherwise, it's I had to advertise by appointment only. But yeah, no, it turned out good. It's our man cave in here, man, and I don't really need a man cave at my place when I have this, and it's
Sure.
like our shared man cave, so it works out really nice.
Sure. And if anybody doesn't recognize this voice, this is Kurt Geier. Kurt, how you doing, man?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank
Appreciate
you
it.
for doing it.
Of course.
I mean,
Of course.
it's always it's intimidating. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't intimidating to reach out to somebody who hosts such a podcast of your magnitude and
Mm.
has such influence. It's intimidating to reach out and ask, "Hey, you want to come record with some ding dong in the middle of a day?" And then you said yes, so I appreciate that.
Dude, I like doing them, and I appreciate you saying that, but don't think of it that way because I'm just an idiot with a podcast like all of us. So, but they're fun.
Yeah,
They're fun. It's hanging out with good people and talking about hunting.
yeah. Well,
So,
I want to talk about you today. I mean, we can talk hunting if you want, but I want to talk about you because
long the
I'm
lead.
super fascinated in um the origin story. Maybe not. I mean, yes, for sure, working class bow hunter, um, but also like why you chose podcasting because
Yeah.
I chose podcasting for a very specific reason many years ago. And my reason is not the same reason as everybody's. I wanted to be in radio. That's what I wanted to do. When I left Michigan to go live in Florida with my girlfriend, who's not my wife, I couldn't find a job. I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. Morning talk radio in Orlando was fucking huge in the early
Mhm.
2000s. Huge. There was channels that did only talk radio. And at first I thought, what the fuck is this nonsense? There's no music. I can't listen to Chevelle at 8 o'clock in the morning. Why
Yeah.
can't I? What is this talking? And then they became part of my life. I understood it. And I
Hmm.
thought I would like to get into radio, but I quickly realized you got to have an in somehow. And then
Yeah.
you got to be an intern and you got to fucking run coffee and you got to get hit in the nuts with a baseball bat a couple times a year. Like you got to do weird shit. And I thought I'm never going to get into it. And then podcasting came around and I thought this is approachable. I can buy the equipment. I can talk to my brother. I can say the same dumb shit that we talked about when we're drinking beers in the garage. That's why I got into it.
Hmm.
Back when Kurt got into podcasting, I feel like, because same with me, especially in this space, it was sort of a clean slate. What made you choose this medium over all the others?
I've been asked that question a lot, and I think you probably pieced it together the best. That's the best way I've ever been asked that. And I got a podcast for you. If you're into radio, we did an episode with a guy from a morning radio show here locally because the area I'm in is called the Quad Cities.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a local show called Dwyer and Michaels in the morning. It's a Dwyer and Michaels morning show. They they had it, so the radio did have influence on me starting. But we had one of those guys in. They don't hunt, but they are such an influence on us and our style early on, especially, and even then some now. We reached out and they came. One of them came to the studio and did a podcast with us. So, have you ever heard I'm assuming we can cuss out. You've been cussed, whatever. But
Yes,
you ever
please.
heard or seen the memes of like people saying wheelchair pussy to Doug? Have you seen
Oh,
that on the
yes,
internet?
yes, 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 yes.
That's from that episode.
Okay.
So I'll send you a link. But anyway, yeah, I had radio influence first. I really did. Because I would listen to those guys at work in the morning until 10 a.m. is when it started. It was from 5 to 10 a.m. every morning. It still is. And I would run an excavator, be working on conveyor belts, or be wrenching on something at work. And I had Dwyer and Michaels on to like keep my sanity to get me through the day. So that obviously made it seem fun to do something like that. And then you kind of fantasize, what if I had a radio show? And that kind of goes back and forth. But um, the long drug out story of it on how it became, I was part of, well, obviously I've always been a fan of the industry. I've always been a fan of hunting videos and the personalities. And that's what really, as a young hunter, I'm talking 10 to really from the ages of 10 to 17 before I started figuring shit out and like to get motivated to keep hunting. I watched hunting videos, bone collector and the juries and so on, and you wanted to be, well, that'd be the coolest job. You get to go hunt and film and be a part of the industry and whatever. So I did. I kind of had my foot in the door. Went to some ATAs, met some people, helped companies set up their booths back before it was like such an influencer thing, and then was part of a hunting video internet thing. It was hunting videos that launched on a website because YouTube was just kicking off in the hunting realm. And then they started going on YouTube. And I liked it, but kind of at the time I had not really falling out, a disagreement, and I left. And I'm like, hunting podcast would be cool. Looked them up, wasn't anything that related to me. I'm like, man, if I'm looking for a hunting podcast that kind of reminds me of a morning show style, maybe a little, fun, sarcastic, making dirty jokes, but also hunting, like a hunting camp thing. I bet I could start one, and then that's kind of how it happened. So found what equipment we needed, which was not like what I'm using right now, where you just turn the thing on and hit the button. It was like, oh, we got to get a live sound set up, and I got to learn how to run like a live sound mixer and how to do a mix minus with cables, not buttons, and all the shit, which at the time was like YouTube, how to run a mix minus for phone calls for a podcast. Back then, I couldn't find anything, and so it was just a lot of guessing and trial and error and fucked up podcasts until I figured it out. So that's how I got into it.
I think I had a bookmark on my phone's browser on how to set up a mix minus all the way until last year.
Hmm.
I just finally deleted it because I'm like, I don't need it anymore. I understand it and I don't have to do it. So
Yeah. Well, I
there's a lot
had
of people that don't know what that is.
Well, even nowadays, you say mix minus to a new podcaster, and they're like, "What?" And it's
Yeah.
like, no, mix minus. How do you get the phone call in, and how do you keep them from hearing their audio back to them, and all the stuff. But now it's buttons and simple knobs and it does it for you. Then it was dials and cables and cords that
Hmm.
you plugged into your phone. So then what I did, I had everything set. And then when we moved from our first studio to the second studio, then to this one, I had masking tape with Sharpie labels on everything because it's like with that stuff, somebody'd come in and bump something or whatever. And you're like, I had it set up good last time. Why is it not working this time? And yeah, the learning curve of it, right? For the equipment. It's way different now. It's way easier now.
Do you think when you first started, you could have possibly forecasted what your future looked like, what the trajectory looked like, that ride was going to be like? Do you have any
Uh,
idea?
no, not at all. I, it seemed like it can't, it's not like we woke up and it was like, man, we got companies wanting to work with us and downloads are great, like kind of yes and no. I like the question, but I just felt like we put so much into it for so long before we got any recognition. And then, so it didn't all happen at once. It trickled in time. But I do kind of remember thinking like, shit, this could be a career. Like, I had people from companies, you're probably about ready to do that full time, aren't you? Like, it looks like it's going good. And, um, but it kind of like bled in time. And then once it was there, I had already kind of been like putting things in place to try and jump to do it full time. And then during the middle of that, that's when my old man passed away. And I was like, I got to try it. Life's too short. And that's what really, we were in the right spot. So, yeah, we've been doing over 10 years. So it's been a trickle over 10 years. And, I feel like we ate shit for a long time and still do.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. I think you have to for a little while. Now, do you think of yourself as a positive person, or did you have to do you have to grind it out to create your own positivity? Like, you know what I'm saying by that?
I think so. Yeah. I would have said back then, no, I wouldn't say I was a positive person. I think I'm a realist. I think I am very honest with how I'm feeling and how I'm perceiving things. And I've had a lot of people not like me over the years, especially not outside the hunting industry. It could be like day to day people at work because I just don't sugarcoat anything almost to fault. Kind of like, geez. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just being direct. Um, so how direct I am, maybe to some people, I might be perceived as not that positive, but I feel like I'm kind of fun, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not forcing uh what I guess what would be like my hosting charisma. I could turn it off and on for sure, but um, I think if I was bullshitting it over 10 years and thousands of hours of podcasts, it'd be pretty clear to see I was full of shit. And I think people meet me, they were like, oh, that's what I thought. I
Yeah.
hope. Fuck. Be
Yeah.
bad.
I can imagine that. I can imagine that. In the beginning, do you feel like you're a creative person?
I think so. I mean, yeah, to a point.
Are
I
you an
would say.
organized creative person or like creative
Oh,
chaos?
chaos. All
Yeah.
chaos.
Yeah.
Absolute chaos. Like ADHD brain, full blown chaos. If you see my workbench in my garage, you're like, what the fuck is this guy doing? It's that type. Like, so full honesty, man.
Yeah,
Just to
no,
tell
that's good. I
everybody.
was listening to I think it was a Joe Rogan podcast yesterday when I was driving. And he had a comedian on, and the comedian was talking about how today when you're driving, you have this luxury of the notes function in your phone. And you
Mhm.
think of something really creative, you are not forced to try to remember. He's talking about jokes specifically and punchlines and the lead up and everything. It's like when I have a thought and I'm driving, I quickly open the notes. I can talk to text, and I can make these notes today. And I can't imagine what that must have been like. How many incredible ideas were lost back in the day when you couldn't write stuff down or make notes and you're driving.
Yeah.
You get a lot of inspiration when you're driving.
Yeah, I mean, I'm never in silence. It's music nonstop. I think to kind of like tame my brain a little bit, but I'm not a notes guy even.
Hmm.
Like I'd probably be way more successful if I was. Um, I I'm 50. I do have notes on my phone, but I don't like the last time I was driving was like, that's a good idea. And I'm like, hey, what, take the note down. Uh, I don't remember the last time that happened. I just kind of like it's in my brain. If I remember, it happens. If not, I just roll until I remember to think of it again or whatever. But um,
One of the
ADHD
problems
is
is
real,
that
dude.
it ends up like this. Okay, so this is my last note. Okay, ready? You can help me. We're gonna work through this.
Yeah.
Cereal is gay.
Uh-huh.
That's what I wrote.
Yep. That
What was
makes
I
sense.
thinking?
You had some sort of bit that you're gonna talk about why cereal's gay. It's wet in a bowl.
It's what it's your favorite. It's your favorite shape. Like you got. Do you have a favorite shape?
I don't know how to answer that.
You got these fucking little circle. You got a bunch of circles in a fucking bowl with your favorite flavor, and then you put fucking milk in it, and then you eat it with a spoon. Why?
Yeah.
That's it. But why did I write cereal as gay? I
Yeah,
also
that's the
have
problem with notes.
I also have food truck of smells.
Yeah, that's what's funny. Were you intoxicated?
I don't drink.
Okay.
There's no explanation.
Yeah, you just
So
need to add like 3 or 4 more words on the front and back of those, and
you
then
can,
you
yeah.
it would help.
Notes are great until you don't have any texture, and then you're like, "What? This was probably a really. I probably had a really great idea."
Yeah.
And then you don't follow up on it.
Yeah, you just need to add like a few words before and after, and then you'd be able to draw back to it. But I
I'm gonna
probably
look
need
at
to do that a little more, but I don't know. I've just been operating without it. So
with your group. Like, does everybody contribute ideas and stuff pretty equally?
um to a point, I'm I'm probably the front runner with a lot of it, and then I'll bounce it through everybody. Or like Eric does all the store stuff and management of the store and everything, and trade show coordination, and all that. But yeah, I'll come up with an idea and pitch it to the crew, and then it'll be like, well, how about this? Or but yeah, most of the podcast focused stuff, like WCB recording, it's that's more my baby on the front end of it, and then everybody else inputs or hey, let's change this or whatever. So but I'm more it's the podcast is my little birth child that I'm pretty protective over. So I do a lot of the steering, um just out of I want to, you know what I mean? It's hard for me to give it up. So
Have you ever tried to share the responsibility?
yeah, and it is shared. It is shared. I don't act like I do everything. I
Oh,
don't do everything. But like Jordan's our video guy. Like Jordan's in there
yeah.
cutting videos. We have a video series dropping in like a month. And like Jordan, that's Jordan's baby. Like
Okay.
I can give up that. But when it comes to like getting guests and driving podcast episodes as far as the direction of conversation, what gets asked where, that's normally where I'm pretty protective over it. But I'm not saying they can't. They definitely
Yeah.
can't do, but that's where that's my thing.
Yeah. You mentioned that when you're driving, it's never in silence. And,
Yeah.
you post a lot. I mean, I wouldn't say a lot, but you frequently will post screenshots of something either that you're currently listening to or you recently listening to, I assume. And
Yeah. Yeah.
it's pretty broad.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Oh, big time. I do that all the time because I'm just like, I don't know, that's a good song. It's like,
Yeah.
because I actually, it's funny you bring that up. I do get messages from some listeners that are like, hey, do you have a play? So I ended up making a playlist on Spotify called WCB Hunt Playlist. And I add a lot to there. And it's broad. It's from hip hop to Kublai Khan heavy shit. So, but yeah, I'll add to there. But I talk to a lot of listeners about music. So, but yeah, I'm very music forward. So
Where's that
it's
come
just,
from?
I don't know, man. That's a good question. That's a really good question. I grew up a BMX kid, and BMX and music always kind of went hand in hand. And I think my dad was real into music and always had music going. And I always had, and my kids are very music forward, like always want to listen to music. And um, I got him, like my son's 3, his favorite band or his favorite artist is Pony Bradshaw. And this is, I was a country music guy,
All right.
probably not a lot of people even know him, but yeah, that's like, he wants to listen to the song Van Gogh 24/7 by Pony Bradshaw. He's awesome. Nobody knows him. Look him up. But yeah, to Yellow Wolf to everything else, I've always been into it, and I don't know, just always got it going.
Is that where
Like,
do your tattoos come from that sort of same background, the BMX, the music, that sort of group of guys?
yeah, it definitely has an influence of it, more like rebellious style. Because I grew up a BMX kid that was everyone was rebellious, kind of rowdy, like
Yeah.
Viva Bam style kids. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think probably it's music's like the music culture is heavily influenced in tattoo culture and that type of thing. And but yeah, it's like if you ever come to the studio, which I hope you do someday, like we have a bar with a giant TV with a very high end sound system because when we're done, we're entertaining guests. We play darts and listen to music full tilt. Like
Hell
our
yeah.
goal is to like rattle deer heads off the wall if we can. And so, but yeah, we have a lot of money invested in our sound system. Just that's how heavy we are into like listening to music too. So never really thought about it, how into music we actually are as a group, but we are. I don't know why, but I enjoy it.
So you mentioned Kubla Khan. Like, would you say you're primarily like a heavy guy, like a heavy metal guy, or do you swing one? I shouldn't say swing. Do you prefer one genre more than the other?
Um, you know what? Like this morning, just in this morning on my drive to the studio, I listened to Pony Bradshaw, Yellow Wolf, and Kublai Khan in a 45-minute drive. So I would say all equally. If I'm with people here, I don't necessarily have Kublai Khan playing
Right.
because that's like a me thing. Like Kublai Khan, Knocked Loose, Comeback Kid. Um, those are like my three major like punk hardcore bands I listen to.
Yeah.
But if there's people here, I have Yellow Wolf, Mac Miller. I've been real into. I lean heavy into hip hop a lot too. Turkey season, man. Turkey, everything goes well with hip hop for some reason. But yeah, it's probably equal.
I like it. I
I
like
would
it.
say.
Do you
Uh,
have okay, this is a loaded question. I'm gonna plant the seed and then I'm gonna tell you where I'm going with this because
okay.
I want to give you time to think about it. I've been thinking about this for a while. I've had this written
Okay.
down for a while. What is the gayest song that you really like, but is a fucking certified banger, but you know damn well people are gonna probably, jab you on. So for me,
Okay.
and I would sing this anywhere karaoke is going on after a couple beers, is Whitney Houston, I Want to Dance with Somebody.
Okay. Okay.
Like it's hard for that song to come on and you not like move a little bit.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. The gayest song. Okay, mine. I have one. It starts gay, and then and then you'll know why it's on the playlist. So like
Okay.
this is the oh you're gonna be able to see that on the screen. WCB's Ultimate Hunt playlist. It
Okay.
looked like shit on the cam, but like the guy shared this like there's 300 people on this playlist that I just shared through Instagram. But you ever heard of the band Electric Callboy?
Yes. Only as of late though.
Okay. So like they have a song called Hurricane and Pump It. And those songs start as gay as you could get. And but they make up for it in the same song.
Interesting.
Um yeah, Electric Callboy is like one of those when you show someone, they're like, what are you fucking playing? And then they're
100%.
like, oh, I get it. It's like joke, it's a joke kind of, but yeah, I would say that on my playlist, that would be um probably the gayest. Um I'm trying to think of something that doesn't make up for being gay, that just exists gay on my playlist. Um, I wish I had an answer for this, man.
That's okay. It's okay if you don't have one. I just
No, I
knew
want
it.
one
I
now.
knew mine instantly for some reason.
I'm scrolling our playlist quick to see if there's anything that someone might be like, why is this on here? Um, I don't have anything ultra gay that I think. There's some on there that people are like, what are you listening to? But I'm just gonna go Electric Callboy. I'm gonna stick
I
to
like
it.
it. I like it. I'm gonna be downloading that when we're done here. What's like? What would be the heaviest song that you're currently listening to?
Something from Kublai Khan, probably, or I like Comeback Kid a lot. They're not heavy, but to most people they're heavy.
Yeah.
Southpaw is a Florida hardcore band.
Okay.
Southpaw makes you want to like just smash something and run around the block.
I know that.
Um, so I don't know if you're familiar with Southpaw, but Southpaw, I like Southpaw a lot. I like their style. They'll mix some hip hop stuff in there with their like it's Florida hardcore. So like
I don't think
you
I
know
know.
a hardcore band's gonna be good when they put like Southpaw, it says their name and then it's FLHC.
Oh yeah.
Like like that Kublai Khan, Texas. Like they put the
Yes.
state they're from and the hardcore scene they're in.
Yeah, there's something there. You're right.
Yeah,
There's definitely something there.
I
Yeah.
I, I
Yeah.
grew up going to a lot of hardcore shows when I was in high school,
Okay.
and so like I'm. That's probably why I still have the gauges and the neck tat. Well, I'm always gonna have the neck tattoos, but that was like very influential in that hardcore scene. And there's a lot of people that I've learned that don't understand like metal music from hardcore to punk music. Now there's bleed over and crossover between all of them, but hardcore is very much so its own like genre of rock.
Oh
Um,
yes.
yeah,
Now
a lot of people miss
where
it.
were they playing? In
Uh,
Chicago, like in Chicago?
no, I'm just south of this little area called the Quad Cities. Well, it's not
Yeah.
little, but the Quad Cities. There was it was actually a karate studio that on the weekends they would play shows in, and it was called Karaz Studio in Moline, Illinois. And yeah, they're like bands like King of Clubs was a really big hardcore band from Rock Island, Illinois. They would play there, but everybody that listened to King of Clubs was like older. So I was like 15, 16, 17. Then all the 30-year-old dudes would come in and you'd get all. It's like, you know, that you ever seen that meme of The Simpsons where it's the old drunk dude with like a broken bottle and all the kids are standing around him?
Yes.
That's how it felt, you know? But yeah, like King of Clubs was like the badass band in the Quad Cities out of Rock Island. So there, you can still find them on Spotify. They rule.
That's
So
cool that there was a place over there. I knew you were not like in Chicago, but I didn't know if you had to go all the way to Chicago to see stuff.
yeah, no, these were more like local hardcore shows for the most part. But we would get bands come in like the King of Clubs. They had a feature from the lead singer from Walls of Jericho, which
Oh,
is a female hardcore band that
I went to school with her.
you fucking
But I swear to God, Candace and I graduated in the same grade.
seriously.
Yeah, you want to know another person that I graduated with? Tim Robinson of I Think You Should Leave.
Really?
Yeah,
Dude, that's awesome. Was Candace
it's
cool?
super funny. She was pretty much like she was very quiet. She had a very small group of friends, and she stayed kind of like with them.
Yeah,
She was
Walls
never
of
mean.
Jericho is like one of my favorite hardcore bands. Like Trigger Full of Promises is on the playlist. Looking at it right here.
That's amazing.
So small world, but yeah, like she featured on one of the King Club songs. The band at all costs, which was a huge hardcore band at the time, came through, and they were like a hardcore like techno-y poppy style. But yeah, so I forgot to mention the shows. That's probably what did a lot of it. But yeah, local shows with a lot of local bands, and a lot of them that were big went through there.
You
So
still go to shows?
I haven't been to one. Last show I went to was in January. I went to a Yellow Wolf show here in Davenport, and it was awesome. And I'm like, man, I need to do more of these. I want to start bringing my kids to some shows, but I had to like, I got to go feel some out. I definitely could have brought my daughter to Yellow Wolf, but I don't know if I'm going to bring her to like a small venue punk show. But you know, I probably could. And I think people respect the kids are there to like get the experience and see the music. So
I took my son to a pretty heavy show a couple of years ago. He's 11. He was probably 9. Um,
mhm.
and the bouncer took us upstairs to get him out of the crazy. So we got
Yeah,
to watch the show an elevated position, kind of by ourselves without all the shit. It was really cool. So you're right. They do kind of look out for the young people and they want you to enjoy it. I think it'd
yeah.
be really great.
Yeah, I'll do it. I'll just like plan on not being up at the stage, you know.
Yeah.
But what I was watching, I'm like, man, she'd love this. And then at the Yellow Wolf show, Yellow Wolf saw a kid who was like 7, and my daughter just turned 6. I'm like, man, we got to do that. So next time he comes in, I told her we're gonna go. So
My wife we went out to lunch and she asked me, so is there any, because we have a really huge, pretty popular outdoor amphitheater here in town that
mhm.
all the national touring bands will stop in. And she's like, do you have any concerts you want to go to this year? And I'm like, I got to tell you, there's nothing about that attracts me anymore. I would much rather go to a smaller venue, like about a half an hour north of here is a place called the Machine Shop. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Machine Shop, but like
I don't think so.
heavy touring bands go through the Machine Shop as well. Um,
Mhm.
and those are the shows that I would much rather prefer to go to all day long.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I know 100% you're saying it. Like stadium, more intimate show with less people and more focus. Like the people that are going to those shows are probably actually real fans that
Yeah.
know the timeline of the career of the artist and stuff. Yeah, I'm with you on that 1000%. I'd rather do that. So, but I don't know, man. Music's always rocking. It always is. It's
Yeah.
very music heavy here at the studios. It helps that we got a good setup.
Hell
So,
yes, it does. Now I think about that a lot because I still listen to very heavy stuff. Like so I wrote down, so my the heaviest song I'm really listening to a lot right now is "Thy Art Is Murder, Make
mhm.
America Hate Again." And
Yeah,
again, it's more metal than it is hardcore. It's really just I wonder, will there come a day where I just don't gravitate to the heavy stuff? It just makes me feel something.
yeah, I know what you're saying. I think the only thing that keeps me from playing it more is just like it's not for crowds of people who especially aren't familiar with it.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't play it necessarily unless I know the crowd at the studio. Like
Yeah.
Jacob Johnson, who hosts our firearm podcast, Victory Drive, he's a hardcore kid. So like I could play Comeback Kid and Kublai Khan and Knocked Loose and Walls of Jericho and some of these bands, and he's like, hell yeah, I love this song. Like he knows it already, you know.
Yeah.
So different, but yeah, it does make you it it gets the levels moving. You can
Yeah.
feel it.
Fuck yes. Like
Mhm.
I definitely get into the hip hop too, but that there's something about heavy metal that will just get me motivated and get me moving. You just
Yeah.
mentioned the other shows. What's it like, sort of orchestrating, being the puppet master, so to speak, of
Mhm.
multiple different shows? Like, do you find it challenging?
No, it's not challenging. Honestly, it's challenging to find the right people to run the shows. And once the right people run the shows, they're self-sufficient. So like, and we've had we've had hosts in that have done some series that didn't work out or they screwed it up or whatever and it just didn't work out. And then, but like the three shows we have with the Victory Drive, Tackling Tacos, and Hunting the Mason Dixon, they're all great. They run their own ship. They understand that they have to put effort into it and commit to for it to be successful. And I can't just be like, WCB stamp of approval. Here's your success stamp. Like it's a grind. And I tell all of them, like times have changed in podcasting. If we would have figured this out and got these shows going 6 years ago, probably a lot more easy to grow. But now there's so much fog. It's just gonna, like I tell Jacob, he's like, hey, I want to do this. I'm like, brother, we've been guessing for 10 years. So it just takes time. And they're all doing great, but they're all great hosts. They have their own flavor. They also still kind of have a WCB flavor to them in each of their styles. So far, I'm very happy with it. It's it's perfect and right where it needs to be, I think. So I'm looking forward to watching them grow.
Yeah, yeah, it's inspiring. It's inspiring to know that there are still people who want to do this, because there are times where I think, where in the fuck are we going? Like, where are we
Mhm.
going with all of this? Where's the hunting industry going? Where's the mobile hunting industry going? Like, how can we possibly continue to innovate? And then the same thing can be said about podcasts. I'm an
Yep.
asshole who just started a podcast. I only started it because I already knew how to do this, but nonetheless,
Yeah.
one more fucking podcast, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
where are we going? What is the end game? Is there one? Like,
I think it'll ebb and flow, right? Because like first of all, I know what you're saying. Like I'm another fucking tattooed asshole with a podcast. Okay. So it's like, oh, what do you do for a living? Oh, you have a podcast? What is this Call Her Daddy? Like I had somebody say that to me the other day. I'm like, well, it's my fucking job, so fuck off.
yeah,
But I get that. But I think what's gonna happen is you have people, it's all gonna here, everybody's got one. I guess if you get on Facebook Marketplace and type in podcast equipment, it's
yes, you
endless
can.
because people just start it. Oh, it's too much work, or they don't do it how they think, and then it falls off. We did like a roundtable in here with a bunch of podcasts a couple months ago, and Eric Clark spit off a bunch of like
Oh
podcast
yeah,
statistics of like how many podcasts there are, then how many are active and uploading episodes.
that was
And then,
fascinating.
yeah, it's like, well, then you really calculate if you're consistent and have X amount of listenership or been around X amount of years, you're really in the top tier of the category. But I think a lot of them are going to trickle out because they don't have the time or you name it. You name whatever distraction or excuse, and that's just what'll happen, I think. But who knows where it actually goes? Um, I don't know.
Have you ever thought about farming out your social media?
What do you mean?
So that was a terrible term. It's the only one I could come up with. I asked this to Aaron the other day, Blicey. I said,
Not the
you know,
Blicey.
there are moments where I just wish I wasn't the person who ran our social media. And so you
Like
could pay a company.
subcontracting it out.
Yeah, like, but my concern is that the moment somebody else puts out that content and it isn't my dumbass statement, it loses its personality.
I think I know 100%. So I've thought about it at times,
Yeah.
just when I'm like, fuck everybody, I want to break. Um, but I think that's what makes, like, if you know WCB and you follow the Instagram, you know I'm the guy on Instagram. And so that if I'm like worked up about something or I just feel like stirring the pot, I'll get on there and say some shit. And then it's coming from me. Versus if I wasn't running it and I had Jordan on and Jordan, and I would trust Jordan to run it. He's good. But if Jordan was like, I feel like stirring shit and I wasn't in the mood to stir shit and Jordan goes on and stir shit, I'm like, yo, dude, what are you doing? It's different.
Yeah.
Um, but like if I do it, then I can actively defend it. If I'm like, hey, I think I can't think of an example of some, like I posted a story today. It's like, all right, Blake Garrett just got a bunch of shit on the internet for killing a turkey out of a 450 quart cooler, which is stupid because he killed a shotgun like everybody else kills shit with a shotgun. I just posted a podcast clip on our story where I'm like, okay, but nobody's giving Josh Bomar shit about putting slow mo turkey, gruesome, bloody headshots
Right.
on YouTube and the internet. But also, everybody's mad about a guy shooting a turkey out of a cooler with a shotgun.
I saw that.
What the fuck are we doing? So
Yeah.
I know when I post that, I think my point is valid. I feel like I can defend that point. I know it's going to stir people up because it's an interesting take, but I don't think it's an incorrect stance. But it'd be, you know what I'm saying? Like I did that.
So
I know I'll get messages on it. I'll respond to them. They know they're getting Kurt to respond to it. So
I think it'll, yeah, again, it instantly gets diluted because your personality is what WCB is. It's you.
Mhm.
And I think
Yeah,
it's always been you from what I can tell. I am not claiming to have been a listener from day one. I didn't even fucking know that hunting podcasts existed and or YouTube video, like people were filming their hunts. I didn't even know that until 2021. I did
yeah,
I
it's
no I
beautiful.
had no idea.
Yeah, yeah,
Um and so, but anyway, from what I gather, you are WCB. WCB is you. Like you almost can't. Okay, and with
yeah,
that, you're
yeah,
married to that motherfucker now.
yeah. It's everything. Yeah, that's accurate. That's
Yeah.
accurate.
How frequently are you looking to like just take a vacation from it all?
Um, Great question. I was really needing it till about what did I get 2 weeks ago? I was fucking done. Trade show season this year cooked me mentally. Not anybody's fault but my own, and just in the hustle. And I went on a 10-year stretch of not telling anybody no to anything.
Mm,
Kurt, you want to be over here? We need you over here to do this. Yep, I'll do it. Hey, you want to do it? Yep, 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 I'll do it. And then at the end of the day, I'd be fucking wiped. Like at some shows, there's other podcasts at shows and there's radio stuff at shows. And I'm fortunate that they were like, hey, man, can you come in for a 30-minute deal? Hey, at 1 o'clock, can you come to our booth and do this? I'm like, yep, I'll do it. I'll do it. And then at the end of the day, at one of the shows, I was hanging out with Mark Drury and we had a crowd. We were having a couple of drinks and my voice was fucking gone. He's like, dude, you got to start telling people no. Because I was like, dude, I'm hungry. I want to be everywhere. Because you can't. He's like, start telling people no. You're going to learn the value of telling people no. And that was a couple years ago. And I just now I'm getting to the point where I want to start telling people no. Like I'm like, all right, I need a break. But I went before I went to Oregon on this Loophole shooting event. Shout out to Loophole for having us out. They were great people. I was cooked. I never like recovered from show season. Was mentally burnt from life, mentally burnt from just everything, and I was losing steam. Thank God I have a team, like with Jordan and
yeah.
Eric and everybody here to like keep the ship flowing. Like I was cooked. And then I went on that trip and it fucking full blown revived me. I needed it.
Mm,
It was like a vacation and a business motivational kick in the sack, like all in one. And I got a Harley. I bought my dad's old Harley back. Not old. I bought my dad's Harley back. And that's kind of been like my escape from things. Can't be on my phone. I can listen to music on the thing, but I'm not on my phone doom scrolling or like seeing people hate for no reason, whatever. So the Harley's going to help me a lot this summer and I'm gonna start telling people no. So
good.
I'll be fine. But married to the game pretty heavily causes turmoil. It will cause turmoil in your life.
Yeah.
And I've been told that by every OG in the hunting industry that's been in here and had one-on-one personal talks with them. And all of them are because everyone sees the glamour, right? Like you hunt for a living, but they don't understand like the hours and the time away and like of you just being somewhere. And it's like your marriage will fail. You will not be there as much as you want to be for your kids. And you can do all that, but you won't be. It's just like anything with a career. Any career that's demanding of you has you away from those things. And it's easy for someone that to be like, blah, blah, blah. You get to hunt for a living. Get to do a lot of cool hunts. Get to go to a lot of cool places. That's also what makes it hard to never take time off. And so I'm not bitching, just what it is.
You know,
So
you Aaron said the same thing. He's like, he gets the must be nice shit all the time. He's like,
mhm.
yeah, it is fucking nice, but I work my fucking ass off. And I have always worked my ass off to get every single thing I have for you to sit up there for 5 minutes and say it must be nice. Like that,
Yep.
people see such a small window of what you allow them to see. And they people really are short-sighted on just everything. It's
Well,
unfortunate.
nobody actually cares how much effort you're putting into it.
No,
Like, like I've used this example on other podcasts before and other episodes and whatever, but like, all right, let's just use Mark Drury as an example as I brought him up. Mark has been so successful in his career and the hunting industry and like what he does with his hunting companies and the products he's put out that everybody you put if no one knows who I am and you put a picture of me with a big buck next to Mark Drury with a big buck, everyone will shit talk Mark Drury in a side by side photo over me. Now it's to the point it's like I'm getting shit talked for killing a big deer. It's like, oh, horn hunt or whatever. But okay, so all of Mark's hard work since the 80s and before then when he's hustling, none of that matters anymore because nobody gives a fuck. Nobody cares how hard he had to work. They're mad about his big deer and whatever and farm hunter and this. It's like he fucking hunted public and built the dream and has a farm. He's killing deer on it. And all of a sudden, fuck him. Because why? Because that nobody cares about his hard work.
I think there's a group of people who are seeking to have the single negative comment that gets the pot stirred. And so
Probably.
fucking Randy who posts on a picture that some negative comment, and then that's the one that gets everybody inflamed. He's fucking goes home and he fucking rubs one out to it. Like he has been successful. Like he'll go home and go, today was a success because I stirred the pot. I think there are people who are looking for that and only that on
Well, they
social.
got nothing going on.
Yeah,
They don't have a hobby.
yeah,
Their kids probably hate them if they have them.
yeah.
Their wife's just a fat bitch, I'm guessing. It's tough out there for them. But I mean, probably
You're probably right.
because I don't fucking do that shit. I don't have time to make shitty comments unless someone's coming at me. Here's the thing: if you come to me and you hate on us, I'll find time to
Right.
fucking make sure you get hated on. Like, and that's the thing. Other hunting people don't do that in the industry. Like, we had a guy come do that about Ross killed a 192-inch just megalodon of a buck this January with a drop tine. And we posted a podcast clip about the score, and some guy came on. He's like, that deer's 160 something at best. And it's like,
Guy from Missouri.
yep, exactly. So we start talking shit and just I thought we cooked him. And I got a message from a guy that said, "You have the capability to ruin that guy's career." Like I'm unfollowing WCB, I'll no longer be a listener. I go, "He's fucking coming at me at what I do for a career and is calling me basically a fraud." I can't what am I supposed to do? I mean,
You
most people would
cannot.
ignore it.
The problem is for too long, people have taken it
Mm-hmm.
and they've let it go. And we have a culture of people. Was it Mike Tyson that says everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth?
Yeah.
Not enough people have been punched in the mouth, either figuratively or literally, for
Yeah.
20 fucking years. We have a generation of kids that don't respect people. Not everybody deserves respect, but they don't lead with that. They lead with disrespect. Kids are not coachable. Kids are not teachable. There's a generation of young adults who are not employable. And so too many people we've just let it slide. And I think it'd be great to turn the tables back.
I think it can come back. But yeah, like I know unless somebody says something to me off the rip, like, yeah, I've been hit in the mouth though. That's the difference. There's a lot of, and a lot of these guys are older guys that are from the generation where you could get in fist fights as
That's
kids and solve
interesting.
your problems that way. Like this dude, I assume was older. Like we get a lot of hate from the mad older crowd because shit didn't go their way, and
Mm,
they're mad about it. And that's a thing too. They're mad about it, and they never do anything, so they never see anybody to say shit to them, so they'll never get punched in the mouth. But I promise you, if you come in like that, you're gonna get hit in the mouth. Like I don't want to do that to anybody. I'm not. It's not an invite. But if someone comes up to me where I'm at work in person is like, "You're a fraud," or whatever it would say it. They might not start with a punch in the mouth, but if you don't get in range, especially, like that dude who said that isn't going to come to our booth at a
never,
show and
never.
say that. I mean, somebody probably will eventually because I've said that a lot. But first of all, it's not worth it. Um, but I'm not above it. I'd
You
like to
see
say I
that?
would take the high road. I don't.
Did you see that clip of Theo Von recently at that bar in Nashville?
It's a great example of what we're talking about.
Yeah. Some
Just
guy
snap that dude up.
trying to fucking rile up Theo, who was seemingly one of the nicest guys fucking out there. Hilarious guy.
Yeah.
Gets in his shit, won't fucking leave him alone, and Theo grabs him by the fucking throat. And the guy was like, "Whoa, man. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck do you think's gonna happen?
It's beautiful. It's
You
a beautiful
cannot
thing.
do that shit."
No, and it's different. It's different times nowadays, but
Yeah.
we've never had anybody. Everybody's actually been cool at shows, but those a lot of those hater dudes aren't going to go to those shows because they're miserable.
They got to
Their
get out of
fat
their
wives
comfort
won't let
zone.
them
Yeah.
leave.
Right.
I shouldn't say that, but
I like I like more, please, more.
it's
Yeah,
funny. I think it's
I think
obviously
so
in humor,
too.
but it's at least 80% true, probably for most of those guys.
Yeah. Yeah. You had a really amazing year in
Hmm.
the deer woods last year. And I think probably just in all, maybe not even the deer wood, just in the outdoors in general. I think a lot about, and please don't take this the wrong way. Um, have you ever thought about what it would be like to grow up somewhere where the hunting culture was dramatically different? Like Michigan,
Uh,
PA, like do you feel like you were really blessed to grow up where you grew up with the people that you grew up with?
yeah, definitely. I do think about that. I think I would move if I lived in Michigan or
Yeah,
somewhere else. In time, and I think I wouldn't know that at first, but it
sure.
depends on how deep into hunting I got. And to a kind of, it's amazing I'm into hunting as much as I'm into hunting. My dad and I got into it together. That was obviously influential, and that kept me in it. But I didn't have a kid my age. Fuck for until I was till right around the podcast started. Really, that
Really?
I could talk with about hunting. I went to a Quad City high school where, I had 700 kids, 800 kids in my class. And there was one other guy that hunted, but I wasn't like close to them. He didn't hunt like I hunted.
Hmm.
I was a BMX kid. I would leave all my friends and go hunt October 1st. And everyone's like, "What are you doing? Why are you gone? We're hunting." And so and nobody could talk to me about hunting. Nobody cared. But I had like everybody that I hung out with were my dad's friends that we went to camp with and hunting videos. So it's actually amazing that I'm into it as much as like one thing that it just like took me away from a deer season 1 year would have completely shifted the trajectory of how I was as a hunter. Like, so it's not like I grew up in a hunting culture area. It's around me, right? But I didn't go to a country high school. If I went 40 miles south to a high school, I'm sure I'd had a bunch of friends that
Okay.
hunted and I hit it off with. But it took me as I got a little older and got more into it and to meet people my age that hunted, you
Yeah.
know.
Huh.
But yeah, I was the youngest guy in our hunting camp by 20 years, easy. So yeah, like I said, I became a Pope Young measurer when I was 18 or 19. I was the youngest guy in that measuring class by 15 at minimum, 15 years. Um,
You
so
say in
yeah,
the
I don't
class?
know.
You said in the class?
Yeah, in the class. Yeah. Um, so that being said, I don't know. I didn't really grow up in the hunting culture. It took me time to like, oh, Illinois is like the spot and whatever. And took, you know what I mean? I kind of had to like learn into it. Um, but now it's different. Now I have like the closest group of friends because of the podcast, what we do, and meet together every week. And yeah, I have the best friends that hunt that are some of the best killers in the whitetail world, in my opinion. So
Agreed.
um, I get to bounce ideas and strategy and game plans and all that stuff off of every day if I want to. And so it's drastically different from when it started. I didn't grow up like in a hunting school where we got days off to go hunting and shit like that. So, and most people, I mean, you can tell by how I look that I didn't grow up in a country. You know what I'm saying? It's not common uh, for a little 600 town high school where
Yeah.
there's 20 kids in class and everybody's had sex with each other by the senior year. You know what I'm talking about? So, uh,
Yes.
so yeah,
With that said, like, do you, and again, Illinois is a blue state because of a couple small areas, right?
yeah, yeah.
So, do you feel as though with your platform and where you are today, I know you said that had you grown up in a different culture, you may have moved. I'm 44. When I think about where I'm at today and how I could potentially, I have the luxury of being able to travel to hunt. I work from home. I travel for work periodically. I travel if I want to go fucking hunt big buck states, I do it.
Mm-hmm.
But not everyone can do that, and so I find myself with a little bit of responsibility to speak up for the future. And so you may have heard Kevin Vistenson talk about this, or maybe even some other guys. Like there's this giant problem in Michigan where we have a Natural Resource Commission, we have the DNR, and they don't like each other, in my opinion. And the NRC makes the rules, but the DNR makes some suggestions via sound science, and we may or may not get some good management resolutions out of it. Do you find that the Illinois DNR, I can't remember what it's called, if it's just IDNR,
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
IDNR.
how are they doing in your opinion?
You know, I don't hear or see much of them anywhere where I'm at. Honestly, I know they're around. I know a couple DNR officers are great dudes. Um, I don't. It doesn't scale on my radar really at all in this area.
Nice.
I hear a lot about, and really even my cruise area. You know, they're around and we know them, and sometimes salvage tags. You got to talk to them, and questions we'll call direct. Like this is a gray area in the book, but whatever. Um, I hear a lot of negative shit about the Chicago surrounding counties. About we're a no feed state, no bait state. No, we have straight wall cartridge rifles now, but you hear about DNR in certain counties baiting and shooting deer with rifles, and like a lot of negative that way. Um, my fear with Illinois is that like all methods of take are going to be legal here, like in no time, and then it's just going to destroy our resource. And um, I'd like to see Illinois do a draw, and earn some extra income for the
Mm-hmm.
state because apparently we don't fucking have any money. How does that work? But thanks Chicago. But yeah, there's things I would change about regulation and seasons and stuff. But as far as DNR, like performing or not performing, I don't know that much, honestly.
Okay. No, that's
Um,
fair. That's fair.
yeah.
I just felt like there was this. I feel like as what I'm going to consider a middle-aged man now. I hate fucking saying that, but like I have
Yeah.
this obligation to speak up, and so I've been to a meeting. I plan to go to future meetings, because primarily the presence there is an older generation. It's older gentlemen who don't necessarily look at hunting and hunting culture and the resource the same way that people like myself, or maybe even a little younger, look at it or feel about it. And so moving, I guess where I'm going with that is moving it would be basically one less voice in the state. And so
I see what you're saying.
as much as I love the idea of buying a 100-acre farm in Kansas and transplanting my whole entire family just to go out there to hunt big deer, I feel like, man, I'm here. I think Michigan could be a destination state with some better management. There's certainly no shortage of deer in the southern part of the state. I feel that obligation to stay here and do what I need to do and travel as needed. Of
Can I throw something at you?
course.
Being from Michigan, I have a thought on Michigan just from talking to a lot of guys from Michigan. We have a lot of listeners from Michigan, and they
Yeah,
take the most shit from us because we joke
I
about
know.
Michigan more than anywhere else. So shout out to you guys. Um, do you think in time, this is going to sound bad. When the generation of what's still living and the generation following, when they die off, will Michigan change as far as quality deer management and antler size with, I feel like the shifting culture and influence of podcasts and hunting videos and being a little more management aware, shooting more mature deer is better for deer rather than shooting all the deer. Do you think when those generations die off and with the influential shift and like the big antler craze, do you think Michigan will become a blip on the radar again for big deer?
I do, but I think it's more than just them dying. I think it's continue. I think it's continued education. I think it's explaining why. Why does a healthy, balanced herd matter?
For the
And
record, I said dying because those a lot of them old timers are stuck in their ways. I don't want them to die, but
no, I
when
know what
they're
you mean.
gone, yeah, when they're gone.
When they started showing statistics at that meeting of the age group that had the loudest voice on whether youth could take antlered deer, it was the highest age bracket. Like the oldest guys didn't want kids to shoot antlered deer. That was the highest concentration of people who had a negative comment on that. When but in the same vein, that's the same age group that answers the surveys when the DNR is asking for feedback. So, young people, younger hunters, if you want a voice and you get mailed a fucking survey, take 4 minutes, fill it out, and put it in the self-addressed stamped envelope that you don't have to pay for, and just send it back to them so they can get accurate records. So,
The problem is getting mailed, not texted to them.
right, that's true.
Probably a little bit, but
Yeah.
yeah, just something to think about, I guess.
Yeah,
But
I do. I think there's enough deer here where it could definitely happen. It just there's got to be an education, and that was one of the questions. The NRC said, DNR, Michigan DNR, what are you doing to educate the hunter? And the DNR's response was, "Oh, we're working on it." Well, it's fine, but at what point are you going to be done working on it?
yeah, they're procrastinating is what they're doing.
Well, if you're going to continuously get funded to do studies for 30 years, you have no incentive to complete your studies.
Threaten some funding cuts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Interesting.
that's
Well,
interesting.
we'll see.
Yeah, I'm always curious to get different perspectives on different states because I love going to Illinois to hunt. I've had tremendous success on state land in Illinois. However, I also know they do culls on the same state land.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
and so it's interesting to hear.
Yeah, and I guess what I meant earlier when I said like I would move, like if I grew up in a, maybe not, it just depends where I was at. If I was that into hunting and had the same goals that I kind of have now within reason,
Yeah,
it would force me to either spend a lot of time hunting out of state or I would move, you know?
yeah.
So it might have been if I, out of school, I need to find a job. Where could I find a good job and work? Kansas. Could I be a lineman and go to Kansas? Could I be you know what I mean? Could I be a welder and go to Iowa? Could Illinois, Missouri? You know what I mean? That's probably what I would have done. But a lot of people, why do you live in Illinois when I was right there? I'm like, I was born and raised, man. It's just what it is. Like I could easily go 50 minutes and live in Iowa and then I have to deal with the fucking politics and tax of Illinois. But whatever, my business is here
Uprooting your
now.
whole family and everything and leaving. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a
even
big
though it
deal.
wouldn't be, I mean, Austin's doing it. Austin's building a house in Iowa right now. Um, he's moving, but it's just right across the river for
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
So I get it, but I like killing $2 in Illinois as a resident. So
I forgot about that. Hey, you talk about goals, man. At this point, again, not saying that you've reached the pinnacle, but you've done some incredible things. You've shot some amazing animals here and abroad. Like, how do you evaluate your goals every year?
it just want it to be realistic because I know bow hunting, right? And I know what it is. And to kill a 200-inch deer every year is not realistic for me. It might be for some people. It's not for me. Um, what I do, I like to find the biggest deer that I can find or the most mature deer and figure out how to get them. I love that process of it. I'm fine doing that every year. And that might just be my goal every year as far as when it comes to like shooting a deer. Um, it depends on the trip. I might have a new trip where I set a goal. Like I'd like to shoot a whatever it is I'm hunting, like if I how to kill 300-inch bull with a bow, like that's on the docket. I got to do that. And that might be my goal. And that's what motivates me for that year. And then I'll switch it up to something different and go. But Like whitetail's concerned, uh, the biggest, most mature, most unique, and I just enjoy the process of trying to get in front of them.
And do you
So
have any stipulations on how you do it? And what I mean by that is it's like got to be your ground, or are you willing
no,
to make calls, use your network, and kind of put yourself in the best position possible?
I'll tell you this: for whitetails at home, I have buddies that invited me out of state for whitetail hunts, but I've never used the podcast to gain permission to hunt a piece. I've never done it. Uh,
That's
would I?
impressive.
I could probably. I don't know. I have permission piece, my farm, my own, and I have two permission pieces, and I don't care where I shoot them as long as it's with deer I want to shoot. I actually left deer in my own piece to hunt the other deer, and that's
Hmm.
long story short. I was trying to kill a mature. It was a mature buck on my farm that was lesser than these two other deer, and Rachel, my friend Rachel from Pennsylvania, is giving me shit. And she's like, "Go, you can kill those big deer. Go kill those big deer. That deer's cool. It's cool. I get it your own farm." And I said, "I'll tell you what. If I can kill those two big deer, I'll make a shirt with your face on it."
I saw
And I did. And I did.
Yeah, you did.
So yeah, I got them right here. But yeah, I don't care where they're at. I just as long as it's legal and ethical and I can get it done with a bow, I'm gonna try. So
Nice. What do you got planned for this year?
I haven't got my draw results back for Colorado mule deer. I should draw, I hope. After a week after that, I'm doing my dream hunt, Newfoundland moose.
Mm,
So I'm really looking forward to that. But I leave here in a week for black bear in Ontario. And then into July, we're going to France actually for roe deer, which is something I've never thought I would do, but got the opportunity and we're going to go try it. I wouldn't give a shit to go to Europe at all, but if I can hunt, then I'm going to go. So it'd be neat to see it. And then, so yeah, Canada black bear, France roe deer, hopefully Colorado mule deer, Newfoundland moose, and then whitetails. So,
that's amazing. How did you come up with the Newfoundland moose? I've never heard anybody talk about that as being
uh,
a dream hunt specifically.
well, I can't afford Alaska,
Okay,
so Newfoundland's
that
the next
just
best thing.
that right there. Okay.
Yep, yep.
Nice.
And there's the Canadian moose up there in Newfoundland are moosey enough to scratch the itch of killing a moose. You know what I mean? They like
Juicy enough, baby.
you can get them big enough. You're like, that's a moose.
Hell yeah.
So I'm going.
Have you ever hunted whitetail in Ontario?
Never.
I got a really close friend whose our sons play on the same hockey team. And he was saying he's been hunting his whole entire life. He's my age. He said back in the day they used to go um up into like straight north of Michigan into Ontario, and it was the biggest whitetail, not antler size, but body size he had ever seen.
Oh,
But
really?
but they got decimated because of a few very difficult winters and then the wolf population.
Mm.
And I don't know anybody else that has ever hunted whitetail in Ontario to know if it's either A, still good, or B, that was an exaggeration.
Well, I mean, you look at some of them Saskatchewan bucks on the old
Yeah.
Jim Shockey videos, and they're just heavyweights,
Yeah.
rolling in. I mean, they're force feeding them what they need to get through those harsh winters. So I'm sure that helps. Um, I don't know. No, I never thought. I think we have a few listeners that hunt in Ontario for deer, but um, I don't know. I would try it one day if the timing worked
Yeah.
out. And we get a lot of invites out of state to hunt whitetails, and it's hard to do it because like I had one of my good buddies is like, man, we should do a heavy doe competition down on the state ground over here during deer season. I'm like, man, I just I put so much into hunting specific deer that it's very hard for me to leave with tags unfilled to go put effort on deer I don't know or necessarily care as much about. Does that if that makes sense? So
100%.
um, yeah, so I get ultra focused on what I want to do when it comes to deer, and then my favorite thing is when you start finding that groove and they're on their feet and you can try and move around and get on them. I love it. I can't get enough of it. So um, I'm fine with doing that every year. And for the record, people ask like, "What are you going to shoot now?" After my last season, I'm like, dude, if 140 fat boy walks through, he's getting it. So
That's a
I
that's a wonderful mentality. There's not a lot of people that will do that. They will incrementally try to improve upon a previous year, and I think if you, as long as you have something that you're working toward, fantastic.
yep.
To be able to say, "I just fucking love this," and whatever comes out that I'm so happy to be able to hunt. I think as long as you can figure out a way to maintain that outlook, man, you should be able to love this for the rest of your life. And that's so awesome.
Yeah, I think so. I do. Now, I'm not gonna lie. I do find myself looking for higher quality deer now more than ever. I feel like my s- I'm better. I'm a better hunter now than I've ever been. But it helps too when you hang around absolute assassins. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like I'm the low dude on the totem pole with a select group of friends here where I see like deer they pass. I'm like, dang, dude, I'd be freaking shooting that. You know what I mean? But and they're all great, mature, shootable type deer. They're just looking for something on just next, absolutely next level. Like a lot of those guys, it's not in the mid 70s or better. It doesn't get shot.
Yeah,
And
that's
I
amazing.
love that. I love hanging around guys like that. I love fucking talking to guys like that because you can break down. Those guys understand mature buck movement better than anybody because
Yeah.
they're willing to sit there and watch them walk by and just like take it in. Whereas, I'm like, this thing's dying if it gets within shooting range of me. But, I always want to shoot a bigger deer if I can. Um, it's the challenge is fun.
Right.
And that's one
With
thing too. People hate you live in Illinois. It's like, well, if I want to kill any deer, I kill any deer, but I want to kill that one. And people are mad at you for doing that. It's like I challenge myself as best I can where I'm at, and everyone's mad about it once you do it. So
listen, I'm gonna play devil's advocate here just to get your take on it. I mean, I'm pretty sure I know what you're gonna say, but do you feel like people like you and WCB and every other show and podcast that talks about the big buck um, and a maybe a new hunter or a relatively new hunter is only consuming big buck content? Do you think there's a chance that those people are going to miss out on the beauty of killing smaller deer because they're trying to live up to somebody else's standards?
I don't give a shit if they miss out because it's you have to set your own goal. Big deer are always more interesting.
Yeah.
Bottom line, big deer are always more interesting. Big deer present a greater challenge than killing any deer. Now, I think what the good of being around big buck killers and having people talk about big bucks, because I was that kid in camp 20 years younger than everybody else, is I shot what I wanted to shoot. I had my first bucks right here with a bow. And then I'm like, okay, now I'm going to step it up. And that became fun. That was what got me into it and to be passionate about it. I wanted meat. I shoot a lot of does. But at the time, I would shoot 5 does a year and try and kill one buck with a bow. And just step it up.
Mhm.
That's what kept me driven to become a better hunter and to shoot bigger deer and just try harder was that goal setting mindset in deer hunting, which I think is really healthy and I think better for deer probably in the grand scheme of things. But I think if someone is like, all they do is talk about big deer, well, if you can figure out how to kill a big deer from a conversation, you can figure out how to kill any deer. So
I like that.
I think they're bitter that they haven't got if someone thinks that like all those guys talk about is killing big deer, well, you're kind of missing the point a little there because if you want to kill this, my guy have a 120-inch, well, he's busted up buck, whatever he is, my first bow buck. If someone's talking about killing a 200-inch deer and I apply all the logic and tactic and whatever I can sponge up from that, I should be able to go kill that deer too.
No, I'm sorry. What I meant was, is there a chance that the people who listen to big buck content will pass opportunities
Oh,
to harvest a lesser deer so that they can live up to your standards and feel as
oh,
though they are, and maybe they're missing out on the beauty of growing.
I see what you're saying. I think that's just a mindset thing as a hunter.
Yeah.
Um, I don't worry about that at all. That doesn't blip my radar. It's a good point. I like the question. Sorry, I got kind of misunderstood
That's
your
okay.
question at first.
I like the way you came at it because that's something I wasn't even thinking about. But there are those people too. I wonder, like for example, my brother's only been hunting for a couple of years.
Mhm.
And I know, and my son said the same thing. My son passed a deer one year because he said, I didn't think we could shoot that deer because
Oh,
he's heard us talk about 8 or better, 3 or older at our farm. And I'm like, son, buddy, Waylon, like you can't just shoot the deer, man. Like I want you to shoot whatever you see that gets you excited. I'm so sorry that I didn't make that clear.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
wonder if like when my brother, who's a grown man, starts listening to podcasts so he can get up to speed and thinks, shit, I can only shoot this caliber, otherwise I'm not a real hunter.
No, I think because we do try to include that in the conversation. I always say climbing the ladder, something I've said for a long time, and that
Right.
is part of climbing the ladder. You know, it's hard for anybody to start on a 180 or a one Pope and Young or whatever the
Yeah.
big deer is and wherever you're hunting or big animal it is. Um, I think communication is key. But I think, like Austin Chandler on our crew, it's like when he comes in about talking a giant deer, it's just it's just what that is. I think I get what you're saying. It's kind of confusing to kind of articulate a little bit mentally, but I think the conversation, like, dude, you just got to get there.
Yeah.
And if you want to become a big buck killer, this is what these guys are talking about in time, then you can do that. That's a good goal to set, and it's good for deer and whatever. And it turns out bigger deer have more meat on them, and
Mm-hmm.
that's cool. So, uh, yeah, I don't worry about that. If someone's like, man, all these dudes, I don't know. I don't worry about it. I
Good.
don't
No,
worry about it.
that's okay. I just curious. It's something I was thinking about when you were talking, and I'd never asked anybody, so I thought I'd ask it.
I like the question. It's good to explain that still, though. It's like, it's not always about the big deer. But if I'm listening to a podcast of guys talk, I think it's more interesting to hear about big deer.
Yeah.
Um, I have no interest in hearing guys talk about fork horn bucks on a podcast and strategy to kill fork horns.
Sure.
I'm sure there's a lot of great podcasts and episodes that do it, and that's awesome. It won't, I won't listen to it.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that I don't respect what they're doing or think less of them as hunters. It doesn't interest me as much as killing a big deer.
What do you want to see go away
People
in the industry?
fucking bored on podcasts.
Explain.
I'm sick of it. You just watch. I don't know. I just scroll through.
This is how this started. You said something, and I'm like, this is accurate. By the way, you want to record a podcast with me?
Yeah, yeah.
Explain yourself.
Yeah, yes, that's right. That's what got it going. So it's just like podcasting's on my algorithm and it's off my algorithm and it's back on my algorithm. Now hunting podcasts are hitting my algorithm. Normally it's other podcasts out of the hunting that's on my feed. And I'm just like, now I'll scroll through and random hunting podcasts that I know some and don't know some, and because there's so many, and I'll see the clip and like one clip's like, oh, we're talking about scrapes, da, da, da. And the other goes, yeah, when you go and harvest a buck, and you can tell they're not even having fun. How the fuck can you expect your listener to have any fun if you're bored and you don't even really want to do it? And some people just don't have the personality for it. Some people don't like my personality. That's fine. But I'll tell you, we're having more fun than anybody else on WCB. WCB's having more fun than every other podcast. I know because I do it every week multiple times. But I just have fun with it. Are we just doing this to do it? Is nobody really excited? I don't understand why people are even doing it sometimes. I want to see that go away. If you can't be enthusiastic and have a good time on your show, what's the point? And I want it from a motivating factor. Like there's podcasts that are in their lane that are killing it. Blicey's up there. The Hunter guys are up there. WCB, we're up there. We're all three different shows that are having good times doing our shows. We're all very different in our style. And I wish there was more people that I could put into that list that I knew were having a great time. Now I'm missing some people I know, but does that make sense? Kind of like I want
100%.
everybody to be killing it and having fun because not only does that motivate other shows, I would probably have more podcast hosts on our show if I thought they would be fun to fucking hang out with.
There is a level of there's a speed at which people communicate, a natural pace that which you communicate. And if you I'm sorry if anybody hears this and you think I'm talking about you. I'm probably not.
No, he is. He's talking directly to you.
Fucking pick up the pace.
The cadence.
Jesus fucking Christ. Have a thought that marries into your previous thought and that you can ask a follow-up question to at a pace other than a snail. And for God's sakes, turn the volume up a little bit. I know.
That's accurate. It's the cadence. It's the cadence of conversation. I mean, I can't even sit at my own bar in here with people like that. like I'm find myself like, yep, yep. You got a trail cam picture of a doe. All right, she hit a rope scrape in June. I'm fucking shocked. I'm bored. I'm bored. You know,
I do.
that sounds negative a little bit, but you know what? It can be
It
for now.
has to be. We just can't sugarcoat everything.
I just want to see it be more fun.
Cereal's gay. It all
Cereal's
goes back to
gay.
cereal's gay.
Cereal's gay. Electric Callboy's gay, but I like them. And I just want to see people enjoying it and doing it, or just don't do it at all.
Yeah. I
Um,
will not fucking put an episode out if I can't get somebody on that I want to talk to. I'm
mhm.
not going to just record a podcast to record a podcast because you'll be able to tell. And so that means sometimes I go fucking 3 weeks before I put one out. And
Mhm.
that bums me out because I would like to do it more frequently. But for me, this is not my full time job. Scheduling is hard. Boo
Very
fucking who. Scheduling is hard. And if I don't want to talk to them, I'm not going to because you'll be able to tell immediately. So don't
the way
fucking do it.
I you're I love that you said that because it's all true and you stick to it and you're not nodding to somebody talk about pictures of does on your trail cam and then cutting a clip out of it. Um, I sound like such a hater right now, and I don't mean to be, but I want to see the fun of it. But one way, like that's the same way. If I do a podcast, WCB does a podcast with somebody, there's something that brought them there that we want to talk to them about.
Right.
And then we only do them in person now. We did 3 call-in ones last year, two call-in ones. No, 3. Mark Jury, T-Bone always gets the pass,
Mm-hmm.
so T-Bone can always call in just with the situation.
Sure.
And then, we had to throw a bone out to Blicey because he couldn't drive from Michigan, so we had Blicey on a call-in. So those are the only 3 that were call-in this year in 25. Every single one of them has been in person, and that's the goal through the year. So whether we go to them or they come here, so that helps a lot with um, cadence and enthusiasm with the podcast. I think that's what keeps it going. We have more fun that way. We get to really get to know the person if we don't already know them.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah. And it also gets us out of a lot of shitty podcast commitments that we only do in person. Well,
Yeah.
that person lives in, Washington State. Unless they're going to come to us. It's an easy cop out for episodes we don't want to do because sometimes it's like a dick when you tell people no.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love it. Listen, I took up a lot of your time today, and I know that you said you had to head out at 3. And so
Yeah, it's all good, dude.
you're
Perfect
good.
time.
We got time here. You can make it. You can go take a dump before you got to go do what you got to do. I appreciate that.
That's right.
If anybody, again, does not know who we're talking to, this is CURT GEIER, working class bow hunter. Where can people find you? Tell us about this upcoming video series. I think I know what it's called.
Yeah.
Hear
It's
it from
called
you.
the Unhinged WCB Hunt series. Should into June be the first episode. Jordan's in there cutting the first couple episodes right now. Um, yeah, it's gonna be. We don't know how it's gonna be yet. We got to find our groove. I'm sure season 2 or the second year of doing it will be better. But workingclassbowhunter.com. We have a full merch store. We have some pretty cool designs out, and then Working Class Bowhunter podcast, any podcast platform, putting a new episode in person, audio and video on Spotify every week. So
Love it.
every week, never missed a week in 10 years. So
That's so fucking impressive.
thanks, man.
Hard to even put it into words. As someone who's been doing this for 10 years, it's hard to believe.
Yeah. Yeah. We've never missed a week. It's been a motherfucker sometimes, but it's fun. We're having a good time. We're still having fun.
And for the record, your hoodie, which I think maybe you had a long sleeve tee as well, black, teal-ish skull and antlers. I get more compliments on the color that you guys chose for that more than any of my other hunting apparel.
Okay. First of all, thanks for grabbing one. And yeah. All right. We'll have to think of some more stuff on that because I've heard that a lot, actually.
Yeah. People love that.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know. We got some
Kurt,
more
I
stuff.
appreciate it, brother.
So we'll throw it. Thanks, dude. I really enjoyed this. This is
Yeah.
one of the more fun podcasts I've done, honestly. So
now you're fucking lying. So fuck you, man.
I'm not lying. I'm not lying. I had a good time.
Everybody, thanks for sticking around. Go check out CURT at the Working Class Bow Hunter and all of their amazing episodes. They've got something for everybody. And for those of you that stuck around this long, we'll talk to y'all soon.